And these artists and writers pay with their body for their attempts to discern a certain kind of life drive. But this life drive instantly turns itself into a death drive as it formulates itself of necessity inside this Western cultural inheritance. Yet these poets, that some of them I will talk about today, or writers, persist in the attempt to discern a language for a unique passing through, which I name feminine, though it is a feminine matrixial in my language, that escapes the man-women dichotomy, the dichotomy that reveals itself when inspiration avoids itself and forecloses in its disappearance a specific kind of unconscious initiation on which we are going to talk. I'm hoping to give you more of poetry and to show you through the poetry of Alejandra Pizarnik, at least, or Sylvia Plath, how they are tragically dealing with these non-soluble fantasies, and how, in Sylvia Plath's case, it's very interesting because she reports in her diaries the way that she asks, she says to the analyst, I want to know what is mother's love. I insist, you must tell me what is, and so on. And the more the analysis go, the more down she goes, because in the analysis, the part of her hate to the mother is taken with empathy, and the part of her love to the mother is ignored. So this is empathy for us. Empathy without compassion doesn't see the whole picture. And there is this, it is going to come soon as an essay, the Demeter-Persephone complex, where I will treat in detail Sylvia Plath and Alejandra Pizarnik. And in that, I will give detailed analysis of how, in fact, what Sylvia Plath is looking for is making some kind of a peaceful pact with the mother's love, and how in her own process of analysis, on the one hand, there is this kind of leading towards, it is completely okay to be aggressive towards whoever you want. The question is not the aggressivity of the patient, it comes and goes. The question is what would be the empathy within compassion of the therapist will keep the whole system under care and concern. And then one day she will hate her mother, the other day she would love her mother, and we will see. But what happens is that when she becomes a mother, it is the mother figure that she cannot tolerate anymore is herself. And when she imagine, there is all this poetry about this moon, the mother moon, the crone, the terrible Medusa. But if we again take the daughter mother on the axis of time, then this was her imaginary of the past, and this is her projection of a future. What is she to be waiting for to become that horrible crone, moon, and Medusa, right?
I like Hecate as my interpretation of Jungian theory for the anima. You have the crone, which is the older one. You have the mother, and then you have the maiden.
So this plays on the axis of time. That's why it needs our careful attention. And I'm proposing for the psychoanalysis the Demeter and Persephone complex alongside the Oedipus complex and other complexes. In any case, we relativize them so that we will be able, the function of the complex is to open up all the possibilities of play, the son, father, daughter, mother, same-sex difference is the most important in that case. How we negotiate, I'm going to be or not to be father, I'm going to be or not to be mother, in any case, I'm going to grow old. So I have to deal with that when I'm young and not think that all the old are, these stupid people, because then I will become one day these stupid people. I might prefer not to become that stupid person and so on. So, but in the poetry of both Sylvia Plath and Pizarnik, what we see is that there is that desire to approach the other side of the eye. Alejandra has this wonderful poem in which she says that a boat had shoved away from her with her on board. And she says all the time, I wish I could have the eyes, the understanding, the possibility to contact this eye that left me with me on board, this impossibility of the eye. So we see, I see at least, that this quest for the matrixial sphere, and we see as we read the poems that, well, many people interpret the suicide of Sylvia Plath in relation to her being deserted by her husband and so on. And I find in the poetry itself a lot of reference to this longing to get into that state of non-life out of which life will come. So the question is to be the subject before I am born, to be the pre-mother before the children have been there, and the play with these kind of passages which become a dead end and which become locked into death. But there's two worlds of imaginary, one of them death and one of them a passage to life. Okay. So with the Demeter and Persephone complex, we could negotiate through playing with the different positioning of mother and daughter and old woman, and in analogy, son, father, old man, and all these problems for which we would be able to allow that there will be a kind of a continuity, a kind of stream of knowledge navigating not only on one direction, but from all directions. Okay. And again, we can look through Virginia Woolf, who committed suicide at 57, and that will be from adulthood to old age. And I suggest to look at that under the matrixial prism. And if we understand the difference of the matrixial from the system. The matrixial border space is drawn and is further drawing virtual and real, traumatic and phantasmatic, as well as imaginary and symbolic transgressive contacts. There's a lot to say about the matrixial affects. What kind of affect would be matrixial? I think that there's quite a number that we can even name. And in a sense, surely compassion is one of them. Compassion is affect, not as an ethical decision, not as... I suggest to look at that under the matrixial prism. So here is the end, the song of death. My head suddenly seems to want to come out of my uterus. Now, as if the poetic corpses were to force, by interrupting reality, to force it to be born. And there is someone in my throat, someone who was gestating in solitude. And I, unfinished, eager to be born, open myself up, am opened up. It's going to come, I am going to come. The poetic corpses, the hair, the unfiltered one by the sun of the lugubrious morning, a scream, a call, a recall, a calling. Yes, I want to see the bottom of the river. This is one of the signs of her for death. I want to see if it opens up, if it erupts and blooms on the side of this, and it will come or it won't come, but I feel that it is forced, and perhaps, and maybe, it is just death. Death is a word. The word is a thing. Death is a thing. It is a poetic corpse that breathes life into my birthplace. Never like this will you manage to encircle it. Speak, but about the scene of ashes. Speak, but from the bottom of the river where singing death is. Thank you very much.